Here we have the super pretty and striking Fittonia. Some people call these nerve plants as well. I think it's because the veins on them anyway, they're super, super cool. And you might also know, if you have one of these, if you've been experiencing this, they can be super, super dramatic. But we'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk about the light first. They will grow best in a bright location, to like bright to medium light. I don't put them right up in a window. Their leaves are pretty sensitive to too harsh of light. So if it's in a really, really bright location right in the window, it can possibly burn the leaves. I back them off from the window a couple of feet, and that's how they're gonna do really, really well. They can survive low light as well too, which is kind of nice because you know that many low light plants are like solid green, right? This one has some color and it is tolerant to low light, so that's really nice. So make sure you give them bright light, but you want it to be on the lower end of bright light. So if you have any questions about what that means between bright, medium, and low light, make sure that you're checking out the lighting videos that I have available on here to kind of be able to distinguish between what that really means. Next, let's talk about watering, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm referring to how dramatic they are. These are known as like complete drama queens. When they want to be watered, when they dry out too much, they will droop heavier than any other plant. They will lay flat down and you'll think that you killed it. But actually, if you just give it some water, soak it, just soak it, and they will actually perk up within the next couple of hours. So it's kind of cool if you have the time-lapse feature on your phone. It's fun to do time-lapse of these because I'm serious, these will lay down, like completely lay down, and then, you know, as soon as you give them water, they start to rise back up and they get really perky and rigid again, so that's kind of neat to see that. If you want to separate these, that's the best way to propagate them. So you get into the soil and just separate them, just rip apart them from the roots, plant them into new soil, and you're good to go. For these plants, I just use a general purpose houseplant mix, a container mix, something that's going to retain quite a bit of moisture because they do like to stay damp. That's when they will, if they dry out at all, that's when they're going to lay down and droop on you really, really heavily and start wilting. So make sure, you know, whenever you come by and you touch the topsoil, if it's approaching dryness, if it's about to dry out, give it a good, thorough soaking, okay? But what I always tell people to do is, like, when you're learning about a plant, and ones that will wilt heavily like this, is that keep track of how often you are watering and kind of try to hit it before it does droop heavily. It's going to, if it's always, you know, coming back, if you're only watering it when it's starting to droop heavily, it's in a constant state of shock, so it's either like feast or famine. We do want to hit it before it does droop heavily. Just know that if it does droop, you haven't killed it. Just give it some water and it'll perk back up. But so what I mean by, you know, keeping track of how long it has been before you watered it. So like, let's say I watered it today, and then on day 10, it started, you know, I woke up and it was laying down. It was really, really droopy. Then I know that maybe, you know, so then I water it, it perks back up, and then maybe on day like 8, I check the soil and I feel how damp it is, or I feel how dry it is. I want to hit it before it droops again. So then maybe I take note of what the soil feels like on day 8, because I know on day 10 it's going to droop really heavily. And then we would just water it thoroughly when the soil feels like that in the future. That's kind of how you perfect watering these girls. I think that's going to do it for the care instructions for the Fittonia. Now this goes for all Fittonia, the different colors that they have. You know, they have these pinks, they have some reds, and some white as well, but it's across the board all the same. I guess since this one is blooming, I could talk about that too. They do bloom, obviously, it's like most plants bloom, but to me it's insignificant. If you want to just cut these blooms off, that will conserve energy for the plant and you'll get more foliage instead of blooms that you're not going to really use. But it's up to you if you want to keep them or cut them off. But anyway, that's going to do it for the care instructions for the Fittonias. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, or you can always message me right here on Tanner the Planner.